installment of the Simone Edwards Show. First and foremost, let's say Happy New Year. We were out of studio last week, so this is our first show for the new year. And unfortunately, as I don't know what would have it, I'm just going to go ahead and own this one. We are late today because of me. I believe it was an oversight in getting the information to my guest, Dree Berry. So she thought we were going to be doing this not live in studio, but via the phone. And so I apologize for the inconvenience, and I take full responsibility. I apologize for the delay, but this is such an important interview. There was no way that we wanted to skip this. So we are going to get to know Miss Dree Berry before we jump off into the deep end. We've got some pretty heavy-hitting subject matters. Today's subject is Learning to Love Again, a domestic abuse survivor's story. And so before we get, because we're going to go deep, right?
Yes.
Whew. And so before we go deep, let's just get to know you a little bit.
Yes, please.
There's a lot of stuff that you do. I mean, you are incredibly active in the community on so many levels.
Thank you.
What do you do for fun? Like, at the end of a long work day, what do you do to unwind?
I keep rollerblades in the trunk of my car.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm a very active person, hence why I'm looking like this morning. I did not know I was going to be in studio, so I did not dress up. I went and walked this morning, my favorite spot, which is Mission Bay.
Okay.
And I had planned on having a phone interview with you sitting at the Hyatt.
Oh.
That's what I was going to do. I was posted up, all that.
Okay.
But that didn't happen, so
No.
I whisked across town, and here I am.
Yeah.
And, Mom, I apologize for looking this way. You taught me better, but okay. We're going to promote health today because that's what we need to do to love ourselves again. We have to first be healthy.
Yes.
Yes. So I rollerblade, I hike, I walk, I kayak. I love San Diego.
Really?
I'm a very active person. So
San Diego's perfect for it.
San Diego's my boyfriend. I can go out with him. I can go kayaking with him. I can do anything with him because he accepts me just like I am.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then the best part about SoCal is, if you want to go skiing or snowboarding, it's just like...
Yeah, and I've done that. I have people to come to town. We hang out in San Diego, went up to Big Bear, went skiing, then ended up in L.A. and Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. So we did this Southern California experience. I love San Diego.
Yes.
I love Texas, too, don't get me wrong. Dallas Cowboys, everyone. But I love San Diego.
Yes. Okay, so what are your passions right now in this season?
I'm celebrating 20 years of living in San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah, starting this in January. Actually, yesterday was my 20th year living here. And people who know me know that it's been a very interesting ride living in San Diego. And so where I am is I want to be more visible this year, and I'm more visible currently right now. This is the beginning of it. And start my house for my girls and get closer to my family because I have a really large, loving family that lives between Texas and Arkansas.
Okay.
So I want to get closer to them because my grandmother was the person that connected all of us. And now that she's living with Alzheimer's, we don't have that connection anymore. So I don't want it to fall apart.
Gotcha.
So I'm the oldest grandchild that she had. So I feel like it's my job to make sure that we connect. No judgment, just connect. So everything about 2018 is showing love, being love, and I am love. That's what it's about.
That's
awesome.
That's
my passion.
So now let's talk a little bit about this house, because this house is really birthed out of the experiences that you went through.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about this house that you're starting.
I want to do girls aging out of foster care because when you go from place to place trying to figure out what love looks like, not even knowing that there is love other than you were born into love because that's what God gives us from birth.
Right.
And if I can not love myself enough to get into a domestic violence situation, people who are not taught love on a daily basis, just imagine what they go through.
Right.
So I had asked God to give me a home back in 2003 for girls aging out of foster care.
Wow.
Because I was working for Father Joe's Villages, and I saw how it was, because I wasn't raised understanding that process.
Right.
But when I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe I'm here to learn and to teach. someone something, because I was always in corporate America.
Right.
And then I fell into social services. And so I fell into social services, I was just devastated at what was not being done.
Wow.
How people lived out of hotels or lived on a couch, and that was normal for them. I couldn't even understand that. So when I asked that, you got to be careful what you ask for.
Right.
Then this domestic violence situation hit me in the face slowly but intently and definitely hit me. And so I had to have, when you ask for something, sometimes, unfortunately, you have to have a test to create a testimony.
Right.
So that's what I feel that experience did for me.
Okay.
So out of that and a lot of counseling and a lot of other things, I think I know that the house is my destiny. That's my legacy to the world.
Oh, wow. That is incredible.
Thank you.
So let's slowly ease into this, right? Because that's a pretty, it's a delicate subject matter, right? So we're going to start there. And that there are no hard and fast rules. There's no cut and dry. There's no blame. Because so often, and especially it seems like the subculture of the climate we're in right now is to blame the victim.
Exactly.
Or to shame the victim.
Right, which is why you don't come forward quickly.
Right. Or to put somebody who's been in this situation in a place where they have more shame and more guilt.
Right.
On top of what they've already been through. So we're going to tread lightly in this area. What kind of woman were you? Do you remember the woman you were before you got entangled with this gentleman?
I was a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I had my son right out of high school, so I was a mom my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I was a good person, of course, God-fearing. I created Vacation Bible School classes. I've worked in different aspects throughout the church most of my son's life, and he in turn did the same. I raised him at Bayview Baptist Church with Reverend Winters and Reverend Clater. I was very assertive, a leader, very positive. I felt like the world was my oyster. I could do anything.
Right.
There was no limit to what I could do.
Right.
In my thought process. I was Superwoman. I could do everything, right?
Right.
And which is why I guess I allowed this person in my space, because I feel like I could handle it. I could handle anything.
Right.
I'm mom. I'm Dree. I'm Betty's oldest daughter. I could do it all. That's what I thought. But, there's always something that can stop you. Superman even had kryptonite. Everybody has something, right?
Right.
So I found my kryptonite. It was loving someone more than I love myself.
Wow.
And not understanding what that could do to me.
Right.
And I realized it wasn't love. It was me being codependent, needing to take care of someone. Okay. Because I was raised, again, in a large family, single mother, 3 kids. I was the oldest. So I always took care of my sisters as my mom worked and took care of our family.
Right.
And then I had my son right out of high school. So then, again, I went to another relationship that I could take care of. And then when my son graduated high school, who could I take care of? I didn't have anybody. But I didn't realize that was a problem because it was positive all those times.
Got it.
So then when he stepped into my space, working with me, and I found out later that his goal was to hurt me. He sought me out. He made a bet at my job that he could date me. Because I don't date people at work. That's just a no-no. You don't do that.
Right.
But he intentionally did that to invade my space, to get me off guard, to let me be what he needed me to be.
So here's a quote, and I think we talked about this. I remember reading a quote that said, yes, you were targeted. Abusers seek out people with strength with the intent of tearing them down.
Exactly.
So yes, you were targeted.
Yeah, I was. And I didn't know this until after it was all said and done.
Wow.
A guy from my job approached me, and he was like, I'm so glad you're okay. And I said, thank you, as you do. And then he said, but I need to tell you something. And I said, what's that? And he told me the bet that they had, because it was like maintenance guys, and he was a counselor.
Right.
And you know how guys just hang out, and they saw me pass by one day, and I spoke to everybody, hey guys, how y'all doing? Went to my lab, and he said, who was that? Because he was new.
Right,
and they
right.
told him, oh, that's Andrea. She's the computer lab instructor. Man, she don't really deal with people. She's nice. Don't get me wrong. She's not stuck up or anything, but she don't, she's not like that. Oh, I bet I can get her. That was his statement. I'm quoting the guy. And it was like, they was like, no, dude, and not even, I don't know what the monetary value was. It's not even important. The fact that you bet that you could date me, and not just date me, but then he tore me down after he dated me.
Wow.
So, I feel like it was all set. It was a setup for my come up, because I had to go down to come back up, because I had a gift that I had to give with these kids.
So now this guy, because you said he was the maintenance guy, right?
No, he worked at St. Vincent's. He was a counselor.
He was a counselor.
But it was like some maintenance guys and him that, hung out at lunchtime.
Got it.
Just kicking around like guys do, just talking and stuff like that.
Okay. So was this typically your type, like the kind of person you would go after?
No.
Okay.
I don't go after people first. They come after me. And he came after me wrong. No, it's not. He wasn't my type at all. That's the reason when everything hit the fan and people realized what was going on, they was like, what was wrong, baby?
Right.
That wasn't you. The physical aspect, the financial aspect, the emotional aspect, if there was absolutely nothing about this package that you should have walked up to.
Right.
This was like you go to the airport and you see a bag on the corner, you call the police and say, can you come check out this bag for me?
Right.
That's what I should have done.
Okay.
But me, I went to the bag, opened it up, took it out, put on the shirt, put the backpack on my bag, took it with me. I did all of that.
Right. Okay.
And I should have called 911 and said, I'm afraid of this bag.
Gotcha. So then, thinking back, were there any warning signs? Was there anything that you saw but overlooked because you were, like you said, you were kind of in that codependent mode of, I've been a caretaker and I've cared for, I'm the oldest in a large family, been taking care of my son. I see something that's kind of like, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. Was there any of that?
All of it.
Really?
Yeah. But I was just, my girlfriends was like, we kept going like, when is she going to stop? When is she going to stop? Because they had never seen me like that.
Right.
Because I'm always very careful who I deal with and how I deal with people, especially men.
Right.
And I wasn't. And they didn't know how to tell me that. They just stayed close to me.
Okay.
Because I kept pushing them away. He kept trying to isolate me, from my family, from my friends. But my true friends, they would not go away. They would have conversations and say, I need to move because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, don't leave her. Don't leave her.
Right.
My girlfriend now, she hit me up not too long ago and was telling me, it's time for me to write my book. It's time for me to step out on it. She was there. She was my roommate.
Wow.
And she was like, she didn't know what to do. But she just kept praying. She had praying flags. She was just praying. Because she just praying, meditating on this spirit has to leave our space. The spirit has to leave our space.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
So what were some of the flags that you saw that you overlooked? What were some of the warning signs?
His family did not like him, which is, like, I've never dated someone their family did not like them.
Right.
Okay. Okay, can I say red flag?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
His family did not like him. He was, they accused him of sexual molestation of his little cousin. And I was like, that's impossible. I don't know where I was. I was in La La Land somewhere.
Right.
That's impossible. Not the person I'm looking at. That's impossible, right? It was so many red flags, so many. But I was just, when they say empty nest syndrome,
right,
that was covering me up.
So you were looking to fill a void.
Yeah, because my son was in college at the time.
Wow.
I hadn't ever lived alone. I've lived with my mom, then I had my son, and I've always had someone there.
Right.
So when all this went down, I ended up in trouble. I realized that I was codependent. I was the definition of codependency.
Wow.
So I had to figure out how to create an interdependent lifestyle.
Right.
But still feed that codependent personality.
Wow.
So that's what I've been doing, and I'm not going to say I've mastered it, but I work on it daily.
Okay.
I work on it daily.
At what point in the relationship did he change from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde?
It was slowly.
Okay.
It was like, how you can make a fist like this and people see it coming, but it was like he was doing this. It was one thing at a time. The next thing I know, I was the victim. I was laying on the floor because he hit me, and I was freaking out, going like, no one has ever hit me in my life except my mom, and that was on my butt or on, whatever.
Right.
It wasn't like a blading out, hit you in the face, hit the floor type of experience.
Right.
I didn't know how to handle that. So that was a breaking point when he realized that he could no longer manipulate my mind. Because I started saying, dude, this is not working. This does not feel right. I keep changing, but you keep getting meaner.
Right.
I keep changing, you keep getting meaner. And then when that happened, that was the day of the worst day of my life was that day.
Wow.
Yeah, the worst day of my life was that one.
We are going to take a break for station identification. When we come back, we're going to talk about the psychological abuse and manipulation that took place that led up to the physical assault and then the aftermath of the assault. We'll be back with Dree Berry in just a moment.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
All right, we are back here in studio with Dree Berry. We're discussing Learning to Love Again, a domestic abuse survivor story. One of the things that I do want to let you know that sometimes we have intermittent Wi-Fi connectivity issues. And so if that happens today, we're asking you just hang with us and come back. This is really, really important for you to learn about. So when we left off last, we were talking about how there were warning signs that you overlooked. Things like his family not liking him, the fact that he wasn't really the type of man that you typically attract, or when I say go after, not necessarily you're in pursuit, right, but the kind of person you would even entertain.
Exactly.
And then as time went on, you let us know that at some point the physical assault took place. Before we talk about the physical assault, I want to back up a little bit to, you talked about how his transformation was slow over time. Mm-hmm. And I think about, there was something I read where it talks about if you want to, boil a frog, you're not going to take the frog and put it in hot water because it'll jump out.
Right.
What you do is you put the frog in a pan of water, and then you just slowly turn up the temperature.
Exactly.
And as you slowly turn up the temperature,
mm-hmm,
because it's an amphibian, it's going to adjust its body to the temperature of the water until it basically kills itself. Mm-hmm. Talk about the ways that he slowly adjusted the temperature. Because one of the things you said before we went to break was, you said to him, I keep changing, meaning I'm changing to make you happy.
Exactly.
But you're not happy, you're just becoming meaner.
Exactly.
So what are some of the psychological and emotional and mental abuse that you went through?
An example was, I was a computer lab instructor at Father Joe's Villages, a local homeless shelter. And I ran a computer lab with 40 computers, which means I did computer classes most of the day, teaching them Word, Excel, Access, PowerPoint, Dress for Success, things to get them back into society, to be a positive person in society. So he would call me all day, like, what do you want? You know? Oh, well, I'm just checking to see if you're at work. Where else am I going to be? I got to get a check. What are you talking about? So it was, first it was that, and it was cute. Oh, he makes sure I'm okay. He's worried about me.
Yeah.
And then it got annoying, to where he would come up to my job to see if I was at work. What are you doing that you need to check on me?
Right.
Where else am I going to be? So that was one. And then my mom called, and his voicemail was on my recorder, because that was back when everybody had a answer machine.
Right.
Why is your voicemail? No, it was on the phone. Like, he had changed it on my phone. And my mom asked me, she goes, why is his voice on your voicemail? I didn't even know. Because when you change your voicemail, you change it one time. You don't change it every day. You don't check it to see if it's changed, right?
Right.
So things like that. So my mom goes, your whole life, no one's been on your voicemail, like ever, except you and Aris, which is my son. Mm-hmm. What's going on? I'm like, oh, my mom, this is our home,
So the two of you were living together.
Yeah. So, you can, for maybe 6 months of this year, this is a year process that happened, And so that was another one, but it was just slowly, Right. He's the man of the house. So, what's wrong with his voice being on my phone? Okay. That was my excuse.
Right.
And then my girlfriends said I came over one day overly dressed because I'm not a fan of a whole lot of clothes. I wear clothes because they're supposed to be. You can't go outside without them. But, I wear enough. I was wearing a lot of stuff, like, sleeves out, everything. My girlfriend, who has passed now, she said, jokingly, after everything hit the fan, she said, I told Stacy, that if you come over with one more stitch of clothing on, I was going to shoot you and call the police and say, this is what she normally looks like. And this is what she looks like. I thought she was a predator. I didn't know that this was my girlfriend because I had changed that drastically.
So he was
from my normal,
so
my
he was
hair,
changing the way
everything.
That you dress.
Yeah, everything. He was changing everything. And I was giving away my clothes, and my girlfriends was like, this dress, I was waiting for you to give that one away. And I never gave that one away. I'd stuck it in the back.
Right.
Like, I'm not taking this, it's not going away.
Right.
And so it was, so it was joking like it was such a drastic change in my personality and my appearance. I couldn't even go to the grocery store and buy groceries without him going to the grocery store with me. Because he wanted to be with me every minute of every day to make sure I was safe. But I've been safe all my life. I've raised a child. I've, all these things that I've done by myself. Why do I need someone to make sure I'm safe?
So at what point when did you start to realize, I'm giving away who I am to someone who isn't valuing it?
Because it just kept getting worse. Yeah. And after, me, I'm not a traditional person as far as I can't do routine stuff. Mm-hmm. I can go to work, that's routine, but that's the only routine usually in my life. Mm-hmm. After that, I might get off work and do this, I got to do that. I have a variety of things to do, which is why the San Diego Black Professionals works for me, because I can do a lot of things with them. And this was getting boring because it was getting too much, and I couldn't make excuses anymore. I couldn't change anymore.
Right.
I was done. But he kept messing with me. And then this one particular day we went running. And the day of the incident, we went running, and my best friend, who's a guy, had came over to get some stuff out of the garage. And that was just a no men, nowhere, because he was supposedly Muslim. And I have nothing against Muslim people. I read the Quran. I compare everybody's spirituality to mine. So I know what's right, what's wrong, what I agree with, what I don't agree with, all of that, right? Mm-hmm. So in his version, I should not be around men ever. And I'm like, okay, I'll work with that. But with this is my best friend. He's like my brother. When the world falls apart, he and I be standing back to back fighting it. This is how close he is. I don't have any brothers in my life. So God gave me one. It was Alan. And he told me I could never see Alan again. That was the deal breaker right there. Because I knew I could see my mom. I could see, all this. When he said I could never see Alan again because he was a guy and all he was doing was trying to eventually have an intimate relationship with me. Everybody was trying to have an intimate relationship with me. I'm just all of that. Everybody in the world that's a man wanted to have an intimate relationship with me.
Wow.
That was his take on it. And when he said that, I was like, no, I'm not. This is no. And that's when the incident happened, when he told me that I was sleeping around. I was just, all the things that I knew I wasn't doing, I was just over it. I've always had people that wanted to change me and wanted me to be a different person because I have such an assertive personality. Mm-hmm. So, and I have such an assertive voice as well. And sometimes I can say things that make people go did you actually say that? And I don't realize how I said it because the tone of my voice. I don't realize it sometimes. And so I was just done. And so when he said that, I said, no. I took a stand. No, this is not going to happen. I'm over it. Mm-hmm. Either this, I started breaking stuff down. What's about to change? I was about to get back to myself. I was over it. Okay. And when I said that, I remember I was standing in the bathroom looking in the mirror because we had just finished working. I had just made this wonderful breakfast of omelets and da-da-da-da-da, you name it. I had cooked it that morning because I love to cook. And instead of him sitting down eating, he comes to the table with this crab. And I'm like, dude, I'm so over that. And he kept talking. I got up, I walked from the table, went to the bathroom, and I'm in the bathroom crying because I'm so over this. I'm crying, I'm trying to wash my face and stuff. I'm like, I'm just done. And then he walks in, he goes, "You're never going to be done." And that's when he hit me. And I was like, I didn't even hit him. I didn't even give him a reason to hit me. But, but that was the next step.
Right.
He was trying to enact fear in me.
Right.
But he didn't realize that I'm too stupid to be fearful like that. When you put your hands on me, I revert back to Dallas.
Right.
And I'm going to fight you
right.
because I'm the oldest in my family. Right. I didn't have a big brother to go to. My sisters came to me.
Right.
"Andrea, this is what's going on." And be like, "Okay, let's go handle that right now." Because when you live in the hood, that's what you do. You don't run because you'll run every day.
Right.
So he didn't realize that was acting a whole different personality in me. It
Right.
wasn't that cowering down in the corner, but like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" I came out like Muhammad Ali, punching.
Right.
And I say this, guys, don't think that I'm not merciful and sorrowful for what I did, because I did hurt this man. But I did it with fear for my life.
Right.
Because when you hit me, you should expect somebody to hit you back. That's just how I was taught.
Yeah.
When somebody hit you, you hit back and ready to go with it. So I did that. And then when I went to the kitchen, grabbed the knife and stabbed him. I think I should have used my hands, what the courts told me. But then I'd probably not be standing here right now having a conversation with you.
Right.
Because he was intent on hurting me. So once I stabbed him, then I said, "Oh my God, I've stabbed this man. If I did nothing and he hit me, what is he going to do that I stabbed him? What is he going to do, right?"
Right.
So I had a jacuzzi room. I ran into my jacuzzi room and closed the door. And I'm sitting at the jacuzzi, Sarah's like this, looking at him, going like, "Oh my God, what is he going to do," right? Because I locked the door and he's sitting up there, blood everywhere, and saying, real hurt, physically hurt, because he was, "Help me." And then it was like a deflating. He's no longer gonna hurt me because I hurt him. It clicked. I fought back. He's not the big bad wolf like I thought.
Right.
He's just this wimpy person that wants to control me because he can't control whatever he needs to control around. This is what went through my head right then, and I just opened up the door and said, "Get out of my house. I need you out of my house." And he did. He left and went to the police office and told them that he was jumped. Well, he went to the emergency room, and the emergency room made him go to the police station because he said he was jumped by some Hispanics at Barrio Logan Park. Because he didn't want them to say that me, little old me, and I was smaller than I am now then, did that to him. Because I almost took him out. God forgive me. I almost took him out because you just don't hit people.
Right.
That's just, I didn't do anything to you to hit me.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just a mess. And from that point, for like 6 months, I had to fight his charge against me. He hit me, but he charged me with stabbing him, which I did. But I stabbed him because he hit me. But he reversed and said he hit me because I stabbed him. And the fact that I was too stupid to dial 911, who are they going to believe? The burden of proof is on me, not on him.
So so he physically assaulted you, but because you didn't call 911 and say, "My boyfriend just hit me and I fought back."
Right.
Because that wasn't even in your mind to do. He then went to the police station after leaving the emergency room and said, "She stabbed me and so I hit her."
Right.
And so what resulted from that?
After 6 months of fighting it, I ended up getting sentenced for 365 days in Los Colinas detention facility.
Wow.
Yeah. I only spent 6 months there, but I was sentenced 365 days, a whole year, to sit down and contemplate what the heck I just did. Because that was wrong. No matter how I look at it, it was wrong. I invited him into my space. No matter how much he wanted to get in, I should have been enough red flags for me to say no. Sorry, this is not the place you need to be.
So okay, let's backtrack just a little bit, because there are two things I want to bring out before we go to break. When we were talking offline, you talked about the times when he would put you through sleep deprivation. Talk to us about that.
Oh, okay, because I can sleep. I mean, not forever, but when I can sit down and go to sleep. And because I found out he was a alcoholic, he didn't sleep. So I'm sleeping, he would wake me up in the middle of the night. I hear something, or did you do blah, 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 just some random stuff.
Right.
You know, so, and I had to go to work every day. So that was part of his way of conditioning me.
Right.
You know, because if you're tired, I'm going to work, working hours, I'm coming back dealing with you, and I'm not sleeping, that's going to affect you in so many different ways.
Right. It starts to wear you down.
Right. And that's what my girlfriend said. She says, it was so many things going on. I just didn't know what to say. I just hugged her and said, just as long as you didn't leave me.
Right.
You didn't leave me there with him. You didn't leave me. That's all I just need. I know my girlfriend was there with me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys go. So there's the sleep deprivation that's taking place. He's waking you up at all hours of. Now, is he waking you up to argue? Is he waking you up to check different? Like, what is he waking you up to?
To argue. It was always an argument about something. Something just off the, weird. I'm like, why are you? Well, we were at the store the other day, and this little boy looked at you, and you looked at him too. Okay. Well, that was a man. You should not look. Just random, dumb, just weird stuff. And then we would talk for 2 hours about how I need to change my behavior for something. I'm like, okay.
So you're in bed asleep. It's 10, 11 o'clock at night.
No, be 2 o'clock in the morning. 10, 11 o'clock, I'm still up moving around.
Oh, my God.
1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, sleep. And you get somebody to go.
You were in the store the other day, and I was thinking about the fact
right.
that.
Just stupid stuff. Or, I'm thinking you waking me up so we can have a nice time in the middle of the night, and you waking me up for some other crap. Are you serious right now?
Right.
Yeah, it was a lot. But he kept saying, people prior to me didn't love you enough to tell you about yourself. And I was in search of myself. So that's the reason it was easy for me to get into that mode, because because again, first time I've been single, first time I've been alone. So I'm trying to figure out, who am I without my son?
Right.
Who am I? Who is Andre Deanna Berry? Who am I?
So what he said to you was, the reason I'm speaking abusively to you.
Oh, it wasn't abusively to him. It was just his loving, caring way of expressing himself to me.
But in the real world.
Right, yeah.
The reason why he's being abusive, verbally abusive to you in his language, tone, and demeanor is because he loves you.
Right.
And you need to know about yourself.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be back in just a moment.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV's Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
We are back in studio with Dree Berry, and we're discussing Learning to Love Again, a domestic abuse survivor story. So when we last left off, one of the things he would say to you often, says he's tearing you down psychologically. He's telling you, the reason I'm mistreating you is because I love you enough to tell you about yourself. There is no judgment behind this question, but it's going to sound like a judgmental question. Why did you allow it? Why did you let him continually talk crazy to you without being like, look, what?
Because I was at that place where I was looking inward at myself. Mm-hmm. So I was inwardly finding me, inwardly searching. Because I have girlfriends, a lot of spiritual girlfriends that always give me books to read, this and that, and I'm always searching. So when I've got this person that felt like he could be, because I know in my past, men have always told me that I'm a little too aggressive for them.
Okay. So.
That's because I know I can't be. My mom, I'm just a very straightforward person.
Right.
And then with this voice that God blessed me with, doesn't help. Because I have a very, when I get angry, my voice can go to a place and you're like, You know, because
Right.
growing up, my mom used to say, "You don't scare me," and I'm terrified because I know she's going to spank my butt.
Right.
But my voice, you know, and she didn't explain what that meant. Like, okay, change your tone. You know, I didn't know that until, you know. So there was that. That's what I was dealing with, was that my voice was unacceptable.
So because you came into this relationship carrying this stigma,
Right.
of your personality is too strong.
Right.
You're not soft enough. Your voice is aggressive. Here comes this man who is going to
Fix me.
you.
Yeah.
And because you're already carrying these insecurities, it just seemed like the logical thing to do.
Right.
Is, well, maybe he is right, because everybody's been saying this all along, so
Maybe I need to listen.
yeah.
Yeah. And part of my voice can be that, but it doesn't mean, I just have to learn how to control that.
Right.
Not change who I am for that. So that it's taken me a while to understand and appreciate that. And being closer to my dad and understanding more of my Berry side personality, because my mom is the Beasleys and my dad's the Berries.
Got it.
And learning more of that Berry side and appreciating that side made me a better person. That's the reason I say it's very important that kids know both sides of their family.
Right.
You know, because my mom was all ladies, all women, Southern belles, all that. And my dad is a man. And my mom used to always tell me, you act more, you know, like you don't really, you're different. That's what she used to tell me. And not negatively, but that was just a fact. But it never was followed with what that meant.
Got it.
Until when I knew my dad, but I wasn't raised with him.
Gotcha.
So when he was living in California, when I moved out here and got to meet more of him and be around him more, around the Berry family, then I realized where my personality came from.
Got it.
And that was part of that process. This was when I was dealing with all that as well. This was me delving more into my Berry family, my genes with that. And then I meet this person, my son's gone. It was just a lot of things going on with me, trying to figure it out. I was very vulnerable at that stage. But I had to figure out exactly, I had to say it was okay to be me. It's okay to be that soft Beasley side. It's okay to be that not so soft Berry side. It's okay. That's what creates me.
Right.
You know, and I had to love that side and not try to change that side.
Got it.
You know, my dad and I had a long conversation the other night for the first time, and it was about that, about how much I appreciate being his part of me. Because I used to and I didn't know how to deal with it.
Right.
I used to try to change it and squash it, but it would always resurface because that's who I am.
Right.
So I know when it's right, the person that can handle that and not make me marginalize him or minimize his
or
existence,
right,
would be okay.
Right.
Because I can't minimize me.
Right.
You know, but the sun is going to shine. It's going to shine regardless.
Right.
And people tell me that, but I'm always trying to pump someone else up.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm okay. But I have to pump myself up. So daily now I meditate. I do a wake up in the morning that wakes me up and lets me know that I have a reason to live in this world. Okay. I have something to give this world, and don't be afraid of it.
Okay. So now he goes to the police, gives a falsified report, or turns the story around, because the burden of proof is on you because you didn't call 911.
Exactly.
Tried to fight it, lost the battle, and you end up in Las Colinas for a year. Well, you were supposed to serve a year. You were there for 6 months.
Correct.
What is going through your head at this time? How do you go through this dismantling, deconstructing process of the person you were to now dealing with, I'm sitting behind bars and my freedom is taken from me, and it's taken from me because someone I thought loved me. I'm in this situation because of the way I responded to their behavior, which I understand that it's wrong, but homie hit you.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating violence here on this Hollywood show.
Just protect yourself.
How do you start rebuilding after that? Did you go through a period of feeling lost, and how did you find Dree again? How did you find life again? How did you start to love again?
I remember the first day I was landing, I always took the top bunk because, all I knew about jail or anything, and this was county jail, so it wasn't like it was prison, but it was still a restriction of, movement or whatever. All I saw, if people hurt people in places like that.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I already know I have a tendency for violence. What is going to come out when I'm in here, right?
Right.
So I always took the top bunk, just in case I need somebody trying to hurt me and I could hurt them before they hurt me. I'm still thinking defensively, which is crazy.
Right.
But that's what I'm thinking. So I get in, and I feel like me working at St. Vincent's prepared me for where I was going, honestly.
Okay.
Because when I get in there, a lot of my clients are in there. Because I've been working for St. Vincent's, I think, for about 5 years at that time.
Right.
So a lot of my clients would come and take computer classes with me, then they would disappear.
Right.
I don't know where they go. They're homeless people. Where do they go? I don't know, right? They would come back and say, oh, Miss Computer Lady, or oh, Miss Mary, I wasn't in your class because I was in jail. So now I found out where that jail was, Los Gallinas Detention Facility.
Got it.
So I'm sitting in there one day, and this girl walks up to me. She goes, Computer Lady. And I said, hi, baby. And she goes, what are you doing in here? And I told her briefly about it. So she goes, you're one of the sweetest people I've ever met. So if you hurt him, you deserve to be hurt. I said, true fact, but you can't hurt people and don't have a consequence behind it.
Right.
So I'm saying it to say they helped me through it because they knew me. So my reputation preceded me. When I got in there, it was like, okay, this is the computer lady from St. Vincent de Paul Village. She's the greatest, blah, blah, blah. If you need somebody to help you with to write your whatever for court, she can help you with that, all that. So the fear was gone because people respected me for that.
Okay.
So I did a lot of praying. Every activity or class or whatever I could take, I took it to get out of that general population.
Right.
I became the house mom because I need to run things. If something will be run, why not me run it? Especially since I've already been at St. Vincent de Paul Village as an instructor, people already respect that. So I had to create the environment I needed in there to feel like I can recover from it. Okay. So that's when I found out I was codependent. I didn't know a name for that. Okay. I took a class. It was a codependency class. I read the description. It fit me.
Wow.
So I took that class. So I started breaking myself down systematically. First, what did domestic violence look like? Me. It looked like me because I let it in. And then I started breaking it down. What I needed to do to get back to me. Individual counseling. I used to have an individual counselor that came every Wednesday. Because at first, when I went in, I told him I think I was losing my mind, right? Because I was like, maybe I get out early if I lose my mind, right? And the lady goes, no, you're going to get in a room with a hole in the floor, so you need to stop tripping. I said, okay. Because that would drive me crazy, right? So then I had to have a counselor. It had to have some normality.
Right.
I can't talk to these people. They in here with me. So she would come every Wednesday, and we would talk, and I would fast on Wednesdays. And we would talk. And so different things I had to do to figure it out. Because in Los Gallinas, if you have never been there, it teases you because you can see marshals from the field. You can see the movie theater. You can see Chili's. You can see all these things, but you can't touch them.
Wow.
Right? So when I would walk the yard and I would like run and do, because I had to stay fit, I would see these things. So it was just double torture. Right. So I would sit in the yard with her looking at the fence of where I needed to be outside that fence while I talked to her.
Wow.
And she said, and what's so crazy, I met her again because she said if we didn't meet under these circumstances, she and I would have been friends. But because she was my counselor, of course, we couldn't be friends. To show how true that was, I had a membership at 24 Hour Fitness. Walking to one of my classes, she's sitting in my class.
Wow.
Doing aerobics and stuff. And we looked at each other. We didn't know where we knew each other from. Because, again, I was in jail. She was the counselor. We didn't know each other like that. So we're sitting there. We kept looking at each other, working out, looking at each other. And both of us said, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And we hugged each other and she says, you are a success story. Because I didn't know what you was telling me was BS or Shinola. I didn't know.
Got it.
Because people come with all kinds of stuff trying to get out of here. But you told me what you were doing. You fasted every week looking at where you were trying to go.
Wow.
And when I came that Wednesday, you were gone. And they said that you were gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And I never saw her again after that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like, it was, I feel like everything happens. It just happened. And I'm just slowly bringing myself back to myself. I started taking relationship classes with Allison Armstrong. She's a online relationship person. And she has, you can go to her classes as well. But I had to figure out what love really looked like.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
Not for anybody else, but for me.
Okay.
Because I can't have anyone that every time I move, they move. I can't have anyone that call me 50,000 times a day. I don't function like that.
Right.
I'm an independent person. I can do this on my own.
Right.
I think it takes a whole person and a whole person to make a union.
Preach.
It's not a half and a half to make a whole.
Preach.
You're already whole. If you're not whole, then what are you doing?
Preach.
Get whole first.
Right.
So I had to learn that about myself, that I'm okay. I'm my father's child who is a bachelor. He's always been a bachelor and probably will always be a bachelor. I'm that person. And I might eventually get married, don't get me wrong, but it has to be a person that can handle my personality. Right. I'm not going to bow down and be somebody else to love you.
Right.
When you're not bowing down to love me.
Right.
And you shouldn't have to bow down to love me. We should be able to stand up proudly and love each other.
Okay.
So those are the things, the tools that I've learned throughout my journey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so the rebuilding process for you really involved a lot, not just introspection, because sometimes people talk so much about introspection to the point where if you become your only counselor, you have a horrible counselor.
Please. Because you got yourself in that problem. So how are you going to get yourself out by yourself? No.
So a lot of it really involved not just introspection and reading things and really taking an honest assessment and saying, yeah, I'm checking off and I'm hitting all the marks for codependency. Mm-hmm. I'm checking off and I'm hitting all the marks for this. Oh, I can see this is how I got myself entangled in this. Then you also started taking relationship classes.
Yes.
And started learning how to have a relationship with yourself and with other people.
And then I tested it.
Okay.
Because like last year I decided I always do a vision board every year. Mm-hmm. And last year I wanted to have a love affair. Not a negative, I wanted to have a love affair. So I tested and I met the guy and we were talking and I told him, I said, I've been taking relationship classes and I have a lot of tools that I need to use and learn how to use them. So I'm going to use them on you. Mm-hmm. We have a disagreement. I'm going to go to the book and I'm going to do what they say. Mm-hmm. You know, not literally go to the book, but I'm going to pull out my tools and I'm going to work with that. Mm-hmm. And he gave me an A because we're still friends. Mm-hmm. But he told me, you communicate very well when it comes down to your feelings with relationships. So I didn't used to.
Got it.
I didn't say anything. Or I would just blow up as we do. Work the neck and pissed off, throw stuff. All that negative vibing.
Right.
I don't.
Okay.
I feel it. I say it. First I feel it. I process it. Mm-hmm. And then I say it.
Got it.
He says within 72 hours, if I did something you didn't like, you're going to come back and tell me in your own way how you felt, what I needed to do to change it, or you're done. And that's just, you know, and I don't say it as direct as that. Right. But I take time to process it. Opposed to use, I just knee-jerk reaction. Like he hit me, I hit him back. Right. I didn't process the fact that if I stabbed this man, I'm going to jail. I didn't process that without dialing 911.
Right.
Now I process stuff, you know, and say, this doesn't work for me.
Okay.
And that's just what that is.
We are 2 minutes over time. We're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be back with Learning to Love Again.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
We are back in studio with Dree Berry. We are learning to love again, a domestic abuse survivor story. This is our Love and Relationship Saturday for those of you who have been with us or are just joining us. This year we want to make sure the focus is on learning to love yourself before you try to get into a relationship with anyone else.
Yes.
And so we left off with you taking classes and then you practice what you learned. And so this is how I'm not just going to be reactive.
Right.
I'm going to take stuff in, I'm going to process it, and then I'm going to communicate my feelings. How are you in relationships now versus how you were, and not necessarily using him, right? Because that was the catalyst to bring about change. Before him, the Dree that was in relationships versus the Dree that's in relationships now, and we're talking about romantic relationships. How are these two women different?
I think what I would say is I have a better picker. I pick better.
Okay.
I don't just pick the low hanging fruit. I process what if this is going to work for me. I talk and I'll ask, and in the past I did, and I just did. If you were cute, if all the boxes, and I didn't really have boxes that I checked. I didn't have a standard. Now I do. That's what it is. I say I didn't have a standard, but if you talk to my family, they say I did, because I guess the right person always approached me. That's how it was.
Got it.
And then now, because of that and another relationship, I'm more careful.
Right.
I do check a box now to see if it fits, and if it doesn't fit, why doesn't it fit? And then I move on.
Okay.
And some people say that I don't date, but I do date. I enjoy dating. A lot of people don't enjoy dating. I do. And because I'm the honeymoon girlfriend. I'm the one that enjoy the fun part. When it gets too deep and we have to holler at each other, have the same argument every freaking night, I'm not that girlfriend. Find somebody else, because I've already said the answer to that question. You're not going to change my answer to that question. We can agree to disagree and move on, but if we can't, then I don't want to deal with it. Because you're going to disagree.
Right.
I have girlfriends I've been having since the 4th grade. We disagree. But we don't have to be mad at each other and not talk anymore.
Right.
And if you're my man, why you don't want to talk to me? Who else you want to talk to?
Right.
So I just have a better picker now. And I take that from Alison Armstrong. She always asked, she had a question, is your picker broken? And she would break down what that meant. We picking the wrong people, and we align the wrong people to pick us.
Right.
So I just process my picker better.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Would you be friends with the old you, the you before the breakdown?
Yeah, I would be friends with her. Yeah, because I'm friends with everyone. That's what my girlfriend Jasmine says. You just love everyone. I said, I do, and that's not a bad thing, but sometimes it is. But on the whole, it's not. Yeah, I would be friends with her because she wasn't a bad person. She was just. I had a child when I was fresh out of high school.
Okay.
And I was at that stage.
Right.
Like when you're an addict, when you stop being an addict, wherever you start being an addict at, that's where you are. So that's where I was. I still had a high school mentality for relationships.
Wow. That's
and
really
I had to learn how to have an adult reality for relationships. So that's what I did. I'm an adult, so I act like an adult. I thought I could just do whatever I wanted to do as a kid. You don't think about the repercussions of your actions when you're a kid. You just date people.
Right.
Enjoy people, and that's it. And not that you don't date people and enjoy people now, but everybody can't get into everything.
Right.
So like this, I have a business coach now. She was telling me, she says, like the mailman, he don't come in your house. He put the mailbox in the mailbox. You wave at him. You might give him a gift for Christmas or whatever, but he's not your friend. Okay? You don't come in the house. Then your neighbor might come in. Y'all have dinner. Y'all in the kitchen. She don't go in your bedroom. She don't go all up in your house. Then you have those people that can have the whole run of your whole space. So you have to make sure you put people in the categories that they fit.
Right.
Don't let them bleed over into the categories that they don't fit.
Right.
So I categorize people and put them where they need to be and be okay with that. In the past, I didn't. I felt like my whole world was open to you once my son was gone. Now, when my son was there, it was always rules and regulations.
Right, because you had someone to protect.
Right. But when I had to realize I'm enough to protect.
Got it.
Protect myself.
Right.
Because if I don't protect myself, I can't protect anybody else.
Right.
So that's what I learned, was how to protect me, how to categorize people and put them where they're supposed to be. Because people come in your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime.
Right.
And you have to choose where they fit. Everybody's not lifetime.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
Because my girlfriends in Texas always say, you have so many friends. I say, but because I love y'all till we die. We've been friends since 4th grade, 10th grade, my whole life. I couldn't understand life without you guys. But there are some things that you guys are not going to do with me. And that's okay. And relationships are like that, too. I might eventually have a man to where I can have a business with and everything in the world with, but more than not, that's not reality. To where he's your best friend, he's your man, he's everything.
Yeah.
You turn over, he's there, you step back, you hit his foot. That's too much for me. And it might be for somebody else, that's okay.
Right.
But for me...
But you have to, I think that's the whole point in learning to love again, though,
right.
Is you have to find out what love looks like for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I told my dad, being your child is hard sometimes because I'm so much like him. My birthdays are like 3 days apart. Mm-hmm. So our personalities are the same. But women are supposed to want to get married and have kids and see you 24/7 and 365, and I'm not like that. So I told Dad, darn it, why? Mm-hmm. But I'm realizing that's just who I am.
Right.
I can't do any more than that. So embrace that and be okay with that.
Right.
And if something else turns out, be okay with that too.
Right.
But embrace who I am.
I love it.
Yeah, I have to.
I love it. So, what are some of your deal breakers now? And I want to add this. Did the old Dree have deal breakers in relationships, or was it just kind of like...
No, she didn't have deal breakers.
What are your deal breakers now?
In relationships, I try not to deal with a person who has small children. Okay. That's a deal breaker for me because I don't want any kids. Right. My son is grown. I'm in a grandmother stage. I don't want any kids. And so I don't want to have to do those football games and blah, blah, blah. I've done all that. Got the T-shirt, sold at the garage sale. I'm over it. Done. So that's a deal breaker for me. Let's go to a basketball game. Oh, no. If it ain't Kobe Bryant or the Cowboys or somebody, I'm not trying to do it. Right. So, and a person who doesn't have a life.
Oh, girl.
I will not be your sole source of entertainment.
Right.
That's what I am for the black professionals. I would not be that for you. I need you to have some friends. I need you to have a life. And I need us to mesh those lives. Right. Not my life is your life and no. You have your life, I have my life, and we have our life.
Right.
I have to have that. I can't have anybody that every minute of every day you got to know where I am. That means something's wrong with you and something's wrong with me if I say okay to that. Right. Okay? And there might be a person that wants that. It's just not me. And go find that person.
Right.
I would kiss you. I'm okay with that.
And you led me to my next question is, how have you learned to let go? Because a lot of times, and this is, we're going to do both sides of the aisle. It's not a man thing. It's not a woman thing. A lot of times, people are not willing to walk away, like when it's not working, because it's like either it's the fear of being alone, or I think a lot of it is really distilled down to the fear of being alone.
I don't fear being alone,
right?
Because of the Barry side of me. I know I'm okay by myself.
Right.
I don't like living alone, which is why I rent a room from someone. I like knowing somebody know I'm going to come home, but you don't have to share a bed with me.
Right.
So how I do that is, it's hard for me to walk away because of the codependency.
Got it.
So I have to tell myself, because I just had to do this. A friend of mine, we've been friends for a long, long time, and he asked me the question if I missed him, and he might be watching. So forgive me, but I'm not saying names. So I didn't miss him, but I didn't know how to say that. So I'm in the car with my girlfriend. I was like, how do I say I don't miss him? But I like him, but I don't miss him.
Right.
She said, just say, I said, no, because then that'll be rude. I still want to be friends with him. So I have to figure out how to say it. It's hard every single time for me to let go, because I want to keep everybody. I want to keep all the eggs,
Right,
but I can't, because it's going to hurt me in the end.
Right.
So what I eventually said was, let's go to a movie or whatever, and we'll talk about it, because I just want to be authentic. I'm going to be my authentic self,
right, and
empower myself to do something. But yeah, it's hard for me to let go. It is very hard for me. So I'm still working on that.
Okay. So we're gonna close out with this. And one of the things that I really love that I've heard you say repeatedly throughout this is that you are working. You are always evolving and always growing. And there really isn't this sense of like, I have arrived at this sense of wholeness. I'm whole and I accept myself for who I am. You can come into my life, great. And if you choose to leave, okay, bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you.
Right. And trust me, I'll cry.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I will boo-hoo. I allow myself 24 hours to have a pity party.
Right.
About whatever it is. Job, men, girlfriends, whatever it is. And after that, I have to pick myself up and decide, okay, am I going to keep crying or am I going to move forward?
Right.
And what did I learn from all of this?
Right.
That's what I do.
I love it.
And that's just it in a nutshell. And I do a lot of walking and talking to myself, which is why my group wants me to work out with them more, but that's my sanctuary time. That's when I pray. That's when I come in tune with me. It's when I'm walking, when I'm hiking, when I'm rollerblading 7 miles. That's what I do to just release. And when you have people going like, did they get to the top of the mountain? Are they there yet? Or, I can't focus with that.
Right.
So I do with them maybe once a month, and then every 3 or 4 days a week I have to do me. I have that time for me because I'm my best friend.
Right.
I'm good. I'm okay.
And I love that the operative word in this is learning to love again.
Yes.
And so you're forever in a place of
learning
to love again.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. We wish you the best of luck with this home that you're doing. Give a really quick shout out to the San Diego Black Professionals, and then we will be out.
Thank you guys for always being there for me. San Diego Black Professional is a family-friendly networking group based in San Diego. If you come to San Diego, look us up. You will find a friend or someone just to shake your hand and give you a hug, because we are the African American Welcome Wagon. So thank you guys.
All right, you guys, we will be in studio next week. I believe it is our Community Saturday. I'm not really sure. No, it's our Women on the Move. And so we are excited about the guests. You'll find out soon. But for our Women on the Move Saturday is next week. We are closing out this week with our Love and Relationship series, Learning to Love Again. Thank you so much for your courage, your transparency, and your bravery. I know I was inspired and challenged, and I'm going to join you on the Learning to Love Again journey.
Thank you for giving me that title.
Absolutely. So be sure to look out for her book that's coming soon.
Learning to Love Again.
Learning to Love Again. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV's Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.